Welcome in, everyone, and thank you for listening to the 300th ever episode of the Missouri Sports Podcast, brought to you by 106 Apparel and recording from the MSP studio, beautiful Springfield, Missouri. I'm one of your hosts, Cameron Albert, alongside my good friend and fellow Mizzou fan, Kyle DeVries. How you doing today, Kyle? Episode 300. 300?
Yeah. What's your... I'm putting you on the spot here a little bit. Any great moments come to mind of our first 300 episodes?
Literally didn't think about this for a second.
That's what on the spot means.
Nope. How about you?
Well,
see how it feels?
Yeah, I don't like that, actually. I don't know. Maybe the conference realignment.
Honestly, that was a pretty legendary episode.
When we were recording that, I was like, this is the worst content ever made by us or by anyone in the world.
Yeah.
But people liked it.
Yeah.
About what episode was that?
It was a long time ago.
A long
50,
time ago.
right?
Years.
No.
First 100.
Was it on video? Was it on full YouTube experience?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
So it was past episode 77.
Okay.
You definitely carried that episode.
Did I?
Well, you got way more creative. Somewhere between not taking it seriously
I think it was more that.
and being creative
Okay.
is where you
It
sat.
was so bad, ended up being creative.
Yes. I mean, you invented the corn conference
That's true. That would have been awesome.
and the beach conference or something like that.
Yeah. Boat conference,
Boat
maybe?
conference, yeah.
Episode 99.
There you go.
Go find it after you listen to this.
Yeah, check that one out. Happy episode 300. It's quite a milestone, I guess. And do you have anything that you're great about?
Like regarding 300 episodes or
No.
just in general?
Preferably not regarding that.
Okay, yeah, we can move on. Producer Cameron and I took a little adventure down to Southern Mo. We played a little bit of poker.
Yeah?
This past weekend, and I think that was the first time I had played since my son was born. So it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
But
Hard to find time for all those hobbies.
I know it really is. But it was good to know that we still had it. We still had our
it was a
touch.
good time.
Yeah. Man, we used to play so much cards
Yes.
back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like for hours and hours on end.
Yeah, like all night.
Every other Friday.
Ooh, those were the days.
Good times.
I was supposed to go with you on that jaunt down to Branson, and we ended up in urgent care with a 2-year-old that just didn't poop for a few days, and we didn't know what was going on.
Just got a little stopped up.
Got her cleared out, good to go, good as new, but a little freaky for a moment.
Yeah.
She had been sick with something else, so we weren't even thinking about, regularity of digestion,
Right.
and that's all it was.
That's great news.
So you got that to look forward to in your potty training. They're figuring out how to hold it. There's a lot of sensations going on.
Yeah.
They can't quite figure it out. The potty can be scary.
Oh, I can't wait.
So, yeah, watch out for that. There's always something new.
Always new challenge.
You reach one milestone, there's a new hurdle. You get over that obstacle, there's 3 more. It's fun stuff.
Then they start asking you where babies come from.
Exactly.
At some point.
Yeah. You just got to roll with it. I'll be ready for that. I feel like I'll be more ready for that than most things.
I'm sure you have a plan.
Yeah. Get some books or something. What are we talking about this week? We're going to talk about football mostly, football recruiting. We got some news, some commitments, kickoff times. And before we do all of that, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, leave us a review wherever you listen to us, and you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Missouri Sports Pod. Go check out the video we just uploaded, who knows how long ago when this comes out. We uploaded it today.
Yeah, yesterday when you're listening to this.
Yeah. It was our basketball quiz
that
video.
We said we'd have last week, but it was this week.
It's here. Be patient with us.
Yeah.
That was a good little video. Check that one out.
It was fun.
Anyway.
There's at least a couple of names that we should have known and didn't, and you'll be screaming at us to get it.
Yes.
So
check that out.
Go. You're smarter than us, I'm sure.
Kyle, a few random little basketball notes before we dig into football. First of all, only barely related to Mizzou in the most tangential way. there was some news that Dan Hurley was maybe going to take the Lakers head coaching job. And I, for one, was really rooting for that to happen. Just, disrupt what UConn's got going on over there, at least for a couple seasons.
Sure.
Because they do this thing where they just bring in a new coach and then win the national championship eventually. And so, obviously, Taurus Reed committed there. I don't really necessarily wish that on him specifically, but that would have been kind of wild to see maybe like the biggest, like the back-to-back national championship winning coach head to the NBA, and his entire roster would have been able to enter the transfer portal for like the next 30 days.
Right. Here's my perception of the difference between college coaches and NBA coaches, and you're a little bit more deep in the culture of NBA, so maybe you can tell me if I'm way off. But college basketball seems a lot more like rigid and than NBA. Like, I mean, these guys are the best players in the world. I think it's kind of just like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like there's a lot of X and O's going on, like in timeouts and stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like Hurley would just, I don't know. I just don't know that I see the fit at the NBA level.
I feel like that's definitely a challenge for any college coaches trying to make the jump.
I think he'd want too much control, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, potentially. I feel like that's true of college football to the NFL to some extent as well.
Yeah. Where
you're dealing with professional adults doing their job, and they're like not going to put up with you treating them like kids, you know? I feel like potentially college football is moving in that direction to some extent.
Yeah.
With how much power the athletes are gaining. Anyway, another name that I saw associated with the Lakers head coaching position is Bill Self.
Really?
And sign me up for that as well.
I feel like we've been hearing that rumor for a decade that he was going to make the jump to the NBA.
I don't know why you would, honestly. Like, I'd love to see that happen. Just get him out of here.
He's got it made.
Yeah. So Dan Hurley going to be going for the three-peat.
Yep.
A couple more basketball things. It was announced that California, the Golden Bears, will be coming to Mizzou for the ACC SEC Challenge in basketball this upcoming season.
Nice.
Got technical difficulties, producer Cameron? Okay, no, we don't.
When was the last time we played Cal in basketball? Would have been that 2012, I guess it would be 11-12 season?
Yes, I think you're right. At the Sprint Center, potentially.
It was a neutral court.
Yeah.
Could have been Sprint Center.
Trounced them.
Absolutely destroyed them.
Yes.
Let's do it again.
Good point. This one will be at Mizzou Arena, though. Trey Gomillion, welcome in. He's back, folks, this time as a coach. He's on the Mizzou basketball coaching staff now.
I think we all saw that coming, right?
Yeah. I mean, Dennis Gates publicly said he'll be on the staff at some point.
Yeah. I'm actually even surprised there was like a year in between.
Yeah.
But was he like a graduate assistant or something last year, or was he away from the team?
I don't know.
Well, anyways, not surprised, but that's great news.
Definitely feels like a culture guy.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's been around Dennis Gates for years now. And that's what he said in his little intro video that was posted on social media. It's like, I know Gates' system. I know the culture. And I don't know. I just feel like he's a tough, hard-nosed guy but is going to be able to relate to the players.
Yeah.
And make it happen. And last thing for basketball, the updated rosters now complete with numbers was posted. And let me pull that up so I can reference it real quick. But it did confirm, obviously, what we already knew, that Caleb Grill is back. But it also just solidified, like, obviously, transfer portals closed and everything. But, we had been speculating a little bit, like, about last year's freshman. Obviously, lost one to the transfer portal. But, I mean, for the most part, I mean, a lot of the young guys are back. And, sorry, I'm trying to find that. Some newcomers got their numbers. Warwick's number 1. The freshman, obviously, Marcus Allen, number 4. That's like Javon Pickett's number, I think. He was number 4. T.O. Barrett will be number 5. Honor Boateng will be number 6. Who else? Peyton Marshall, number 21. Lawrence Bowers, old number.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Gray, 33. Who's a famous 33?
Colin Van Leer.
Ernest Ross.
Was Van Leer actually 33?
I don't know.
I have no clue. Sounded right.
Mark Mitchell, number 25. Anthony Robinson's back. Trent Pierce is back. Trent Burns going to be number 7.
Is Trent Pierce coming back for a revenge tour?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably specifically against me for making fun of his
We'll take that
equilibrium issues.
Oh, that's true. We were teasing him about that, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. We will collectively, as the Missouri Sports Podcast entity, who will be fine with any vengeance there.
Yeah. We'll take that burden, give him some bulletin board material.
Yes.
Yeah. Somebody has to. Moving on to football. The kickoff times for the upcoming football season were announced, sort of, because like half the season there's options. So we got some concrete times. First game of the season, Murray State at home will be 7 p.m. on SEC Network. Get ready for that. Then Buffalo at home, 6 p.m. ESPN Plus. Boston College, 11:45 a.m. We already knew about that one. Vanderbilt is a PM flex game. Could be afternoon, could be prime time. At Texas A&M, 11 a.m. kick on ABC or ESPN.
Big time.
Get that premier times or channel slot, and you're on the road first thing in the morning.
I think that's what you want.
Yeah.
On the road. At least that's what I'm thinking, because when Missouri gets a big game at home at the noon game or 11 a.m. or whatever it is, I'm disappointed, typically.
Fans aren't going to be drunk enough.
Yeah.
Tailgate, people are going to be late to the first quarter. Last year, Coach Drink was like, hey, these 11 a.m. kicks, we need you guys to get here in your seats.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not very much time to tailgate and stuff, and so people want to do that. And then by the time they get everything set up, it's like 10 o'clock. I also just feel like that is such an opportunity on the road at Texas A&M. They're going to be maybe a top 15 team. Probably
there'd be a top 25 team.
I don't
know
for
sure.
I don't know what their schedule is before they play Mizzou, but definitely could be two like top 10, top 15 ranked teams.
Yeah, it feels like the type of game where it's like, okay, who's ready to bring it? Early in the season, early in conference play, early in the morning.
Right.
Like which team is about it from the kickoff? Again,
I haven't looked at the schedule closely enough to know this for sure, but it definitely could be one of the biggest like SEC games of the season up to that point too. Mm-hmm. Like just as for the conference as a whole, with two contenders going at it.
Yeah, for sure. The next game's a little bit of a disappointment. It's homecoming at home against Auburn, and we are given the early window. So, and it has come out since the announcement that Mizzou did specifically try to lobby the SEC for a different time slot for homecoming. So they're going to have to rearrange some stuff, but that's a little bit frustrating.
Early slot, meaning like 11 a.m.?
It seems like there's a little bit more wiggle room in what that could mean exactly, depending on which channel it's going to be on. But yeah.
It was like 2:30 still considered the early window?
No, that's, I believe, the beginning of the PM flex window, which we will get the following week at Alabama. So could be like 2:30. It could be the afternoon. It could be primetime evening game.
What week of the season is that roughly? Is that like the middle of the year?
Week 7. So that's the 7th game for Missouri.
That's a big one.
Yeah, huge. Especially if you take care of business. And I mean, there's a decent chance that Texas A&M they'll probably be favored.
I think so.
By a little bit at home.
Potentially.
In that matchup. So Mizzou fans, every single Mizzou fan is thinking worst case scenario, that game's the only loss on the schedule so far. You're 6-1 going on the road to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
With
potentially 7-0.
6-0,
whatever it would be. Yeah.
That's PM Flex, so that could be the primetime ESPN marquee matchup.
College game day.
College
dare
game
I
day
say?
at Tuscaloosa. Yeah, decent chance, but and maybe back-to-back weeks of college game day for Mizzou. First one at Alabama and Tuscaloosa, then college game day comes to Columbia. The narrative is working for me. Imagine this. After Mizzou knocks off Alabama on the road,
Okay, I like that.
we're coming back home undefeated, number one team in the polls, number one team in the college football playoff rankings,
Probably would be.
facing Oklahoma.
Oh, goodness.
And that game is also PM Flex.
Give me that. Give me that alternate reality.
Yeah.
Over.
It's not going to be alternate.
That'll be the real one.
So that one could be afternoon or prime time as well.
It's going to be a fun season.
Whew. I'm going to be hearing Kirk Herbstreit call games in the video game here in about a month.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to be hearing him talk about the Missouri Tigers quite a bit this year.
I mean, they've got the opportunity to really be playing in some big games this year. Like last year, I mean, it felt obviously the Georgia game was massive.
Yeah.
And it like the SEC is on the line in this game. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean that really felt like the only game that felt that way.
I mean, we were at the LSU game.
Yeah.
And
That was early in the season, but
Yeah.
both teams were LSU was not undefeated.
right.
But Missouri was.
It was big.
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure we knew how good Missouri was at that point yet.
right. And I mean, even LSU, like Daniels was not like that. I mean, that was one of the games where he really started
Yeah.
getting on Heisman radar and
He
stuff.
put himself on the map for sure if he
Yeah.
wasn't already.
Yeah.
But anyways, it feels like there's a lot of those, like as big as the Georgia game last year, like there could be like 3 of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of those to me is Oklahoma, no matter how good they are, because of just how badly I want to win the game as
For
far as
sure.
all the rivalry stuff goes.
Yeah. They've got a tough schedule. Obviously, they have to play Texas. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I'm not necessarily making an official prediction here, but Oklahoma definitely has a tougher schedule than Missouri, I think. Both like top 20 in strength of schedule.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a decent chance that Alabama's undefeated, but I feel like Oklahoma will have a loss or two
I think so.
when they come to Columbia. As much as I'd love to see like Missouri give every single team their first loss.
Yeah, no, I want to see Oklahoma be bad.
That works. Next up, traveling to South Carolina. That'll be in the afternoon window, 2:30 to 3:30 kickoff at South Carolina. It's kind of insane how South Carolina is like, whatever.
Like an afterthought now.
Yes. And that's like scary a little bit.
Yeah,
because,
it is.
Yeah. It feels,
Got to respect your opponent.
yes, it feels dangerous to be thinking like a road game at South Carolina is one that would be overlooked. But I feel like
Debo Samuel's not walking through that door though.
that's true. And I don't know if you've heard, but we've got a guy on our team that is comparable to Debo Samuel.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Coach Drink said it.
I thought you were going to say Coach Drink.
Coach Drink.
He's comparable.
He is. People say
Comparable,
there's a resemblance between Coach Drink and Debo Samuel when they're on the field.
Yeah.
No, but really, Coach Drink made that comparison, and people were like kind of trying to clown him a little bit for that. But literally, that's what like recruiting and like scouting profiles
Yeah.
give Luther Burden. If you didn't know,
What
we're
I'll
talking about
say
Luther Burden.
about that quickly is Debo Samuel is a bit of a buzzword when it comes to like college scouting because he's such a unique player. And anytime players have like this kind of special like yards after the catch ability, it's Debo Samuel. So I think that's probably where some of that comes from.
Sure.
But I mean, Luther Burden has a very special after the catch ability,
Yeah.
and he can bowl people over. So
Yeah.
I can see it.
I'm putting you on the spot now.
Okay.
Do you have like in your mind the best comp for Luther Burden that you can think of? Like, do you have somebody in mind, or maybe two guys mixed together?
Honestly, like I think he's got a little bit of Malik Neighbors in his game.
Okay.
But probably more like Debo Samuel than Malik Neighbors is. Probably Neighbors might be a little more finesse. I don't know. Not
But
really.
in the back in more like when his recruiting cycle was happening and stuff.
Mhm.
For some reason, a name that sticks out to me is Chris Godwin.
Yep. That was who I think he drew those comparisons for sure in high school, I would say. I think we maybe talked about that too.
I feel like measurables, he's like dead on with Godwin.
I think like as he's gotten a little bit bigger and stronger, I think he's less like Chris Godwin now. I think Godwin's a little bit like lankier, a little bit more finesse than Burden is. But I could still see that. They're somewhat similar.
And we haven't even seen prime Luther Burden.
No, we haven't seen grown man Burden yet.
What are we talking about here? South Carolina, and then at Mississippi State, same thing. Afternoon, 2:30, 3:30 window. Finishing off with Arkansas, not on Black Friday, but also in that 2:30, 3:30 window. I'm guessing that'll be CBS again.
CBS and the SEC, didn't they break up or something?
Oh, maybe.
We'll
We'll have to research that a little bit.
I don't know.
Maybe that game won't be on CBS. Overall, though, I don't know. Anything about kickoff times? It feels like there's an opportunity here. The SEC is kind of being like, yeah, if you take care of business, we'll reward you.
Yeah.
Is the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
There's prime time
That's very much
opportunities.
it's exactly what it is. Yeah. Show us that you're interesting, and we'll put you in prime time.
Whew, I'm ready for it. Like literally every time I look at the schedule, I get butterflies.
That just happened to me in this conversation, like talking about all the big games.
All right. We'll be like researching these teams. Like I've started
June. It's like mid-June.
Yeah.
It's flying up.
I've been starting to listen to other teams' podcasts a little bit, see what they feel about their own team.
It really is like that talking season.
Yeah. We'll get to the bottom of it. We'll figure out who's good before the season starts.
We'll definitely relive last year's talking season stuff too, because that will never get old.
Yeah. Speaking of reliving last year, Twitter and our Discord reminded me that this time last year was the Williams-Nwaneri recruitment.
Oh, wow.
Like chaos of like Oklahoma people freaking out and saying that Mizzou was dead in the water before the announcement and all that stuff. What a time.
That was that long ago?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was a good one to come out on top of.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Speaking of recruiting, got some commits. 2 guys committed this week. Most recently, 3-star safety from Demopolis, Alabama, Dylan Williams. He committed to Mizzou. He's 6'2", 180. Also had offers from Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Kentucky. Those are the SEC offers that he had. I watched his huddle film, and he's like, I'm looking at high school junior highlights, but so he's like looking in the backfield constantly as a safety, which is not necessarily ideal, but like just diagnosing the play and making a tackle and just lighting guys up. Like every tackle on the tape was a decleater.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to like sometimes see in those like huddle films like how well they're diagnosing plays because maybe they're just like faster than everybody and they're just overcorrecting.
There's definitely some of that.
Sometimes you can tell though, and yeah, they're funny sometimes if you're watching like I don't know, like wide receiver film or something, and they're like the camera's just so zoomed out, and then they're just like a tiny speck like running across the field, or whatever. You can't even barely see the ball, and you're like, well, they look fast.
Yeah, and like on his tape, he's like, 6'2", 180, and he's like towering over some of these skill position players that he's just annihilating with tackles.
Well, Jalen Carlisle was a big safety, and he just got drafted to the NFL draft, and he was like a 5th rounder, and was a very good player at Mizzou. And I think maybe Drinkwitz likes that style of like a little bit bigger physical safeties, and I'll take it.
A little bit of flexibility. If you are fast enough, then you can just play wherever.
Yeah.
The other slightly more noteworthy commitment was 4-star offensive lineman from Fort Worth, Texas, Henry Fenuku. He committed to Mizzou over basically everybody else. Ohio State, LSU, Georgia, Florida State, Oregon, Tennessee.
That's wild.
Among others.
The offensive line, if even remotely lives up to its recruiting rankings over the next 2 to 5 years, is just going to be so good.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah,
and that's a luxury we're not used to.
No, SEC size, year after year with continuity,
right?
And the way they're bringing in transfers to fill holes,
right? And I don't want to disrespect anybody by saying this, but I definitely feel like last year was maybe the first time we've had the luxury of having a really, really solid O-line, pretty much in all 5 positions, and you can just see how it elevates everybody.
Yeah.
And Cody Schrader's a great back, but what he did was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Mind-blowingly insane, and I don't know. I'm sure he would thank the offensive line a lot for what happened. And,
for sure.
Brady Cook too. So it elevates everybody's play. It makes everything easier, and just I'll always be excited about this kind of recruiting win.
Yeah, and we're getting Fenuku. Already have Jack Lange committed, and we've got Michael Fasusi, who we're still in on. So this has the makings of an elite offensive line class. Yeah. And it's also just some security that if you don't land Fasusi, you have multiple 4 stars at the position. Fenuku's slated to play guard. That's where he played in high school, and moves quickly, pulling and stuff like that. Very fast, from what I could tell. 6'4", 295 going into his senior season. I think maybe it was his recruiting visit that the clip came out of Coach Drinkwitz playing the guitar.
Oh, was it?
I don't know if it was actually his or just the timing made it seem like that, but I'm sure you saw that. It kind of went viral in Mizzou circles and maybe SEC football. Well, Lane Kiffin commented about it.
Yeah. Yeah, people were comparing it to the Brian Kelly thing, where Brian Kelly, I'm sure everybody's seen that too, where he's back to back with a recruit, and the little cameras revolving around them, the little 360 camera, and he's looking in it and looking all cool. That's, everybody would agree that's the cringiest recruiting video that's ever been released. And people were comparing Coach Drinkwitz, strumming the guitar for literally 2 seconds to that, and I just won't stand for that.
No, and obviously we're biased, but also ridiculous comparison.
We've called out Coach Drinkwitz,
sure,
for stuff like that,
sure,
or stuff he said, or
he has those tendencies. He has those tendencies to be a little nerdy, dorky, whatever. But also, he just embraces whatever he's got to do. To build the relationship.
It's working, whatever it is.
Yeah, and but he defended himself on Twitter, saying,
you got to jam out to Creed or whatever he said.
Exactly. But
I thought he looked pretty cool.
I thought so too.
Holding the guitar,
looked like natural. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So keep it up, Coach. And he might keep it up with another commitment on June 30th, because 4-star wide receiver Corey Sims will announce his commitment on June 30th. He is down to wide receiver from CBC in St. Louis. He's down to Mizzou, Penn State, and USC. He does visit Mizzou for an official visit on the 21st, a little bit before announcing on the 30th. Everybody's feeling Mizzou on this one. We're feeling Mizzou all the way.
Yeah, this would be a big one, and it's looking pretty good right now. So I would feel pretty safe that he's going to end up in Missouri for sure.
On3 has it at 85.8% to Mizzou.
What's that? What do they call the old recruiting machine or whatever?
The recruiting prediction machine.
Prediction machine.
RPM.
It never goes wrong, right?
I don't know. Yeah. Well, it's probably updates in real time. So they just change it to 100% right when he announced it. I've got it right again.
There you go. Just a machine.
4.6% to Penn State, 3.9% to USC.
Geographically, that's a little bit random, right? Missouri, and then all the way West Coast, all the way East Coast.
Yeah.
He's coming home.
Yeah, stretching the use of the word coast, talking about Penn State probably, but yeah. Well, yeah, East Coast, yeah.
Yeah, it's out there somewhere.
Yeah. For us flyover states.
That's exactly right. if it's like
You get east of Illinois, you're on the coast.
Yep.
He is listed as the number 1 player in the state of Missouri, according to Rivals. You always want to be able to click on that state ranking and see that tiger head next to their name.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Your official prediction?
Absolutely Missouri.
Yeah, Mizzou all the way. Be devastating.
99.8%.
Yeah. Wide receiver class looking like
Loaded.
it could be stellar. Offensive line class looking
Loaded.
like it could be stellar. 5-star quarterback.
Loaded.
Watch out. On3 has the current, so far, the 2025 class, 19th in the country. I picked that one because it's the best of the recruiting services, but top 20
Most
already.
trusted.
Yeah. Most trusted, most loved. We were talking about on Discord a little bit that maybe it seems like maybe On3 just generally has like we could probably just figure this out, but they're like combining if they're rated 3-star on all the recruiting services, well then when you put it all together, it's a 4-star. So I don't know how that works exactly.
They do kind of just pass out those 4 stars like candy, don't they?
Yeah. And
well, Rivals is a little bit like that with 3 stars. I feel like it's just like, well, if he's outside the top like 150, we haven't heard of him. He's a 3-star.
does he have a recruiting profile? 3 stars.
Exactly. They do like kind of have the 5.5 rating, or I think it's like a 5.4 to 5.7 is like a 3-star or something like that. But
Yeah.
well, sometimes they'll like a recruit will be unranked.
Yeah.
He'll commit somewhere, and they're like, "Oh crap!" Like, wait, and then just throw a 3-star on him.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like On3, it's just like it's very much in their best interest for like social media engagement and stuff to be able to put as many different teams' logos and get as many different team fan bases online engaged by being like, a 4-star player considering your school.
Yeah.
Better like this tweet. And I do it every time. So,
Yeah. Got your hook, line, and sinker.
definitely. I think that's all the news for this week. I guess maybe I'll tease the folks for next week.
I was about to do that if you weren't.
Put the pressure on ourselves to actually come through with it.
Oh, absolutely.
We were thinking about this week doing, now with Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC, we thought we need to do a tier list of all the SEC mascots. And now somebody's going to steal this idea before we can get it out.
No.
But we started doing research and we realized there's just too much to cover. It needs its own episode.
Yeah.
So hopefully not too much news comes out next week because we're going to have a lot of time dedicated to SEC mascots.
Absolutely. There's a lot. There's a lot of lore
Yeah.
of mascots.
When we started digging in, it's going to be good.
Yeah. A lot of mishaps.
Yes. Some incidents and accidents.
Yeah.
But that's probably it. I don't have my names ready. We'll listen to the song for a second. Special thank you to our Patreon supporters: Britt Treese, Ryan Demore, Tristan Ben Smith, Parker Daddy JD, Tim Keynes, Tyler Harsel, Brandon Garofalo, Brandon Hanks, Matthew Tilley, Lewis Fernandez, Joshua Jacobson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We love you so much. You can find this podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're on Twitter at Mizzou Sports Pod, and you can email us at MissouriSportsPod@gmail.com.
You can find our t-shirts and stickers on our online shop, MissouriSportsPod.BigCartel.com.
Nobody's bought a t-shirt in forever. Feel free.
Join Patreon.
Be the first one in a long time. Thank you everyone for listening. We'll see you next week.